In this series of videos, I'm going to show you how to set up your Photoshop file for the still life project. And in Photoshop, there's many ways to do everything, and this is just one way to do it. So if you're just getting started out with Photoshop painting, I would suggest, follow along this my way, and then you can, put your own little variations in the method as you go. So first thing to do is to check the specs, and remember our image size has to be 8 by 10 or 10 by 8. That is either portrait or landscape, and the DPI has to be 240 to 300. So let's remember that as we go forward here. So in Photoshop, here is the image, the photograph I took of my setup. And just as a reminder, composition is vitally important for this project, so starting with a good composition is a big deal. So I took the time, I made this like nice triangle shape with my three objects. The camera angle I chose, I have this like nice diagonal going in the background here, and I was aware of the lighting and the shadow and everything else. Okay, so again, we want 8 by 10 or 10 by 8. And this is not 8 by 10. So the best way to get the correct aspect ratio is to use the crop tool. It's one way. There's other ways, but this is one way to do it. So over on the left side in the toolbar, 5 tools down, or you hit the letter C on the keyboard, enable the crop tool. And then there's a drop-down menu where it has these different aspect ratios. The one we want to use for this project is 4 by 5. 4 by 5 and 8 by 10 are exactly the same, so you can see 8 by 10 in parentheses there. So choose that, and this grid comes up. And you can grab a corner, and you can, crop and move this crop tool any way you want to. And in fact, you could make it, horizontal as well. But of course I want this portrait aspect, and I kind of like the way this is set up already, so like spanning the entire image works for me on this one. The only thing I want to make sure to do is I kind of want to have like a little bit more room on the top of the composition rather than at the base. But I like how this is all working with the shadow and everything. I probably could bring it in just a tiny bit. If you hold down the Option key, it kind of constrains it to both sides, and that's getting picky. But okay, so then hit the Return key when you're happy with what you want. So this is cool. This is what I want. Let's check my image size. Image size. Now make sure you set your resolution from 240 to 300 DPI. Okay, that's a big deal. And since you're going to be painting over this, you can set whatever the DPI that you set now is what is going to be the DPI of your painting. If you took a low-res photo that's like say at 144 and you set this to 300, your photo might look pixelated, but your painting is going to be this resolution. So whatever number you put into here, this is going to be the final resolution of your painting. So that's all far out and groovy, right? So make sure this is 240 to 300. Now your width, now, since we use the crop tool, set the width and height. All you gotta do is set, these are locked, all you gotta do is set one of the measurements. So my width is 8 inches, and Photoshop in its wisdom put, what is this, 1/10,000th of an inch on the end of it. I don't know why it did that. That's nonsense. That's okay. But anyway, the width is 8. So that's all right. That's all cool. Great. Okay. And let's click OK. So the crop tool is still visible for some reason. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so I got 8 by 10. I got 300 DPI. Hooray! Now let's save it as a Photoshop document. File, save as. Navigate to a known location, and you're going to call this still life, and then put your name in it, and make sure it's a PSD file, okay, because if you save it as a JPEG, that'll actually compress the file, which is not a big deal, but it's not fatal. But it's better to, at this point, make sure that you select Photoshop in the drop-down menu. And let me close this up here. So we got Photoshop, we got the name correct, we're in a known location, click Save, and then I'll see you in the next video.